I think tokenization is really something that we're excited about. I think if there is one company that is well placed to do that is Robinhood because we have our broker dealer already. We have the knowledge of our crypto platform that is powering millions of customers. So definitely think that we're in a good spot there.
All right, a monster deal in the crypto space as Robinhood scoops up Bitstamp for $200 million. A huge deal, and excited to have on with us Robinhood Crypto GM Johan Kerbrat on the show with us today. Johan, thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Excited to talk.
Yeah, congrats on the deal. I mean, this is a big one. For those who don't know, Bitstamp, one of the largest crypto exchanges in Europe, 4 million users, if I'm getting that number right. Huge, huge deal, man. I mean, what is the most important thing that stands out for you in this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reason why we were excited about this deal, but I think the three key reasons for us was that one, it accelerates our crypto international expansion. Two, it brings a globally scaled exchange to Robinhood. And three, it really introduced the first institutional business to the company. So, uh, really very important reason. We've been trying to expand internationally. As you've seen, we launched crypto in December 2023 in some part of the EU. We also launched our brokerage business in the UK in April. And so now Bitstamp, with its 50 active licenses and registration globally, will bring in customers across the EU, the UK, the US, and Asia to Robinhood. So a big step forward there. And then on the institutional side, Bitstamp has been trusted by institutions for its reliable trade execution, deep order book, and really their API connectivity and offering like crypto as a service, which is kind of their white label solution. And they also have institutional lending and staking. So, really what it means for Robinhood is that we will enter the space with an active and highly trusted business with
Hmm.
already established relationships. So it's a very big deal for us.
Yeah, and I mean, right now the stock's up about 7% in today's session. I just feel like even at that move, people might be underestimating how big of a deal this is. And John, I wonder how much of a steal this is too, because if you think about where Bitstamp was valued back, I think in 2018, it was about double this. So you're getting at $200 million. I mean, is this a steal in your mind? I mean, it seems like a pretty good deal for Robinhood.
I think we're really excited for everything that is going to be unlocked with the acquisition. At this stage, we're pretty early. There is still many months before the acquisition will be actually closing. We expect it to close in H1 of 2025. And so, at this point, we're really focused on just acting as business as usual. Continuing to work on our roadmap, and we've been shipping a lot of good product in the past few months, and so we're going to keep doing that in the next few months as well.
Well, as you mentioned, it does open up some interesting global opportunities for Robinhood. But back here in the U.S., been an interesting time for regulations. Obviously, the SEC announcing a Wells notice for Robinhood, and again, trying to figure out what is and what is not a security in the crypto space. Some people might view this transaction as really doubling down or maybe clapping back at the SEC. And if that's the case, obviously Bitstamp offers more tokens, I think, than what's offered right now on Robinhood. So I wonder how quickly a lot of retail investors watch this show. I think my mom bought Ethereum on Robinhood first. How quickly does this deal maybe accelerate adding tokens to Robinhood that could be available for trading, and when should people expect that?
Yeah, you've seen our response about the Wells notice in the past, and like we've said in the past, we've been disappointed, but we keep engaging with the agency, and we're going to keep working with them. I think what we said also is at this point we believe Robinhood Crypto is here to stay, and that we'll keep innovating and shipping product. And this deal just shows that is that we are still innovating and we're still pushing what we think is really going to be the next financial framework for tomorrow. We think crypto is going to power a lot of things that today are powered by traditional finance. On the listing of assets, at this point we don't really have any plan to say anything there. Like we always had a very clear framework about our listing of assets that we go through for every single coin on our platform. We look at
Hmm.
many aspects from technical, security, operation, and we're going to keep doing that. I think any kind of notion of what will impact Bitstamp here is a bit premature.
Well, I wonder, I mean, looking farther out, right? And maybe not getting so much into specifics, but just thinking about what Robinhood's strategy is now with crypto. There's been a lot of talk about tokenization, real world assets, trading of that kind. Robinhood's kind of unique because it does offer late night Sunday trading and late Friday trading, which is different than most exchanges. And I also wonder, as kind of an exchange that's straddling both interesting strategies on the TradFi side and now doubling down on crypto, if you kind of would say that maybe there's an opening to look at this deal as Robinhood betting also on maybe tokenizing assets or being in a unique position to do so up against Coinbase and the like.
Yeah, I think tokenization is really something that we're excited about. I think if there is one company that is well placed to do that is Robinhood because we have our broker dealer already. We have the knowledge of our crypto platform that is powering millions of customers. So definitely think that we're in a good spot there. I think the benefits of tokenization are huge from risk management, 24 hours trading, built-in fractionalization to also like real-time settlement and no intraday margin. I think, there is a long list of advantage and benefits. If you think about it, right, like last week we celebrated T plus one on settlement. And, this is not an actual issue on the blockchain space. So I think blockchain and crypto are going to change a lot of things in the near future. And, I really want Robinhood to be at the forefront of that.
Yeah, I guess when we think about maybe traditional exchanges in crypto, Coinbase could add stocks. They don't have stocks right now. Robinhood has both stocks and crypto, and I think market cap at about a third of what Coinbase is. I mean, Coinbase has made huge inroads in not just kind of retail trading, and I assume, based on your earlier answer, that this deal represents Robinhood's ability. Opportunity to really lean into institutional as well. Is that kind of the big play here in terms of not just custody, but I guess working with institutional firms through Bitstamp?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the big play here, I think, in the reason why we're looking at the acquisition. We spend years building and scaling a platform that offers the lowest cost and average in crypto and also can handle the tens of millions of customers on the platform. And so a lot of time like institutions were reaching out to us and asking like can we connect to you guys and we were always kind of like well we need to work on it and this is exactly what it's going to allow us to do. We are going to be able to serve this institution and really double down on this new business for us. Like we until now we're only a retail shop.
Yeah, and I guess, obviously a lot of that is just kind of being able to do so in a way that pleases your retail customers. And obviously, Robinhood has always kind of put that at the forefront in terms of how you guys have functioned as a company. It's also interesting because that's kind of the last interview I did with Robinhood was with Vlad after the GameStop saga. And what happened there, obviously, Dumb Money, the whole movie's come out since. But it was interesting to hear Congress, the House Financial Services Committee, talking about tokenizing assets and what potentially it could do to prevent some of the issues we saw at Robinhood when all of that went down with the DTCC and the idea of, okay, how much collateral do we need here? French Hill, Representative French Hill, actually asked the head of DTCC's digital assets about whether or not tokenizing some of that stuff back then would have actually made your guys' jobs easier. Just want to play a clip of what we heard in that exchange and get your take on the other side. Take a listen.
Seemed like there was a lot of mystery in that and a lot of back and forth. Would having it on a ledger have made that easier?
Well, I can't comment exactly on the specifics that you've described, but yes, one of the attributes that we
So
believe
that would like reduce fragility in that instance potentially.
one of the attributes we believe that tokenization, along with smart contracts, would allow the automation and increase efficiency of margin calculation and margin movement. So you will see an increase in velocity there. So we do believe that's one of the efficiencies to be able to deliver faster and more efficiently.
So, John, I asked the question because I wonder if you would agree if kind of having those rails and tokenizing some of this stuff would have made things easier back then in the first chapter of the GameStop saga. And then I guess moving forward, if that potentially now puts Robinhood in an extremely strong position, if it could do so.
Well, I think we can also just look at this year alone. Like we've had, record number of volume in the past few months, and we've seen absolutely no issue on the platform in terms of being able to handle the load and everything like this. So it really shows that how much Robinhood as a platform has matured and is now really able to handle these kind of waves. But I think overall, the clip is spot on. Like, we with tokenization and with blockchain, we should be able to have instant settlement and effectively eliminates a lot of the counterparty risk. And we should be able to have real-time settlement and not be at the mercy of T+1 or T+2 in the past. So I absolutely think that tokenization in the future is going to be the right path forward for this type of assets.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I mean, yes, you mentioned T+1 settlement and the idea of kind of these things getting faster, but still dealing with the old system. You had the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, on CNBC talking about kind of setting these things up and trying to get regulation correct. He had some interesting ideas and interesting words about exchanges. Just want to play what he said and get your take in terms of how Robinhood's thinking about setting things up in a different way or maybe the same way as traditional markets. Here's what he had to say.
And these crypto exchanges, Jim, are doing things we would never allow this New York Stock Exchange to do. Our laws don't allow you to trade against your customers.
So when we talk about setting this up properly, obviously Congress is talking right now to maybe remove some of the questions that you guys at Robinhood are facing around the Wells notice we talked about. But I'm curious what you think might come when it comes to growing the size of your guys' exchange if you are kind of dealing with accusations like that from one of the largest regulators in this space.
Well, I think we've been pretty vocal on that in the past. Like we've engaged with the agency. We've engaged multiple times when they mentioned that we could come and register. We actually went there and we had many meetings with them to try to come and register. So I think, at this point, it's not that easy to say anymore, like we can just come and register. We need to have clear regulation and clear help from the regulator to help us understand like what exactly they want to do. And, I think Robinhood is very well positioned for that. Like we are regulated by the SEC on the brokerage side. We are regulated by FINRA. On the crypto side, we work with the New York DFS. We have this experience. We know how to handle it. It's just like right now, it's not clear on how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess obviously too, we're dealing with very interesting spaces. They're very different spaces, but as you said, the growth's been kind of extreme. Anytime that's happening, I guess people are always on edge just to figure out like, okay, how big the stress might be here. Because revenue in the first quarter was up, I think, triple almost, and crypto assets under custody more than doubled, 26 billion at the end of March, based on your guys' earning reports. I mean, where are you seeing kind of the biggest demand right now? As you kind of put this deal into context, because we talk so much about institutional, retail, but just when you step back and look at it, what say you?
I try to not look too much at the variation on volume. If you look at since the creation of Robinhood Crypto, we actually launched in 2018 in the dead of what we call the crypto winter, and really was about the fact that we thought that crypto and blockchain was here to stay and was the vision of the future. And so we kept building during this wave of the crypto winter. And, when things goes well in the volume, we want to be ready. We want to have the features that our customers are asking for, and we also want to have the platform that can handle the kind of load that we've seen in Q1. So, at this point, my main focus is, 5, 10 years down the road, I want to make sure that when we engage with our customer, they tell us that they love Robinhood, and they tell us, the features that they are missing. And so that's what we are focusing on building.
Yeah, it's always interesting to kind of think of that dynamic in retail trading versus institutional trading. Obviously, we saw kind of some of that come into focus last time around when it was hedge funds versus retail traders. On the crypto side, though, I do wonder if there are interesting choices to make there, too. I was looking at concentrations of revenue and credit risk disclosures in your guys' last earnings report, highlighting that Wintermute is now the largest market maker you guys are working with on the crypto side. I do wonder about that when we talk about risks to retail traders, market makers, the idea of what Gary Gensler brought up in that clip we played, and who's trading against who in all of this. What do those discussions look like when you're balancing all that? Wintermute came up in the Terra case as a market maker that may or may not have, based on what they said, traded and started to dump Luna tokens in that collapse, which a lot of people in that community weren't exactly happy with. How do you kind of weigh those things? How do you weigh choosing market makers, figuring out who you want to kind of help stabilize things when there aren't really so many rules written around them yet?
Yeah, so we on our side like work we work on a system that is really fair for every trade. So every time a customer places a trade, we route it to the market maker that offers the best price at the time of the execution, based on the size of the trade. And so for us, that's really important that we want to make sure that on the few market makers that we route the execution to, the order goes to the best price. And we also really try to anchor on transparency. So now when you place a trade on Robinhood, we'll show you exactly what the spread is, and we'll show you exactly how much Robinhood is making in revenue from the trade. And I think that's really important. Like we've been focusing on that aspect for a while now, because when we talked to our customer, we realized that they were having issues to compare the pricing of the different places to buy crypto from. And, it's normal that they are having trouble, right? Like there are some competitors that tell you that they have a fee. And then if you look a bit deeper, they also have a markup on the spread. And so it's really hard to compare. So what I recommend to customer always is to look at the amount of crypto you're getting at the end of the trade. And we've been focusing on that, trying to offer the best price to our customer. And, in general, Robinhood Crypto offers the lowest cost in average for crypto. And so that's something that I'm very proud of, and I want to keep pushing on.
Yeah, and you also mentioned, I guess, the idea of building in the bear. I don't know if you feel this way, but it almost seems like people might be sleeping on Robinhood Crypto right now. And this is the first time you and I are chatting, and I feel like it's kind of been overlooked, and maybe it was the case that it was launched in a bear market. And now that we're here, I mean, what are you looking at as your goals this year? Because if you listen to everybody in the space, it seems like the back half of 2024 is going to be a very exciting run. Just on the way things are going. So what are you most excited about in terms of those benchmarks in a bull market to say, look, we did the job well. This is what's going to happen over here at Robinhood. Don't sleep on us.
Yeah, I think, for us, we've been focusing on increasing our market share and increasing the way that people think about Robinhood in terms of crypto. We've moved a lot in the past 5 years. We launched our self-custody wallet last year. That is being downloaded in 140 plus countries. We also launched in the EU, like I mentioned, in December. So, we've been moving quite a bit on the crypto space. And I think, the volume number that you mentioned also show that we're a very big player in the space as well.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch. And obviously with a deal like this, fuel on the fire for, I think, the growth over there. As I said, even with the pop today, still feel like people still not appreciating how big of a deal this is. But I appreciate you coming on, walking us through the details. Robinhood's crypto GM, Johan Kerbrat, thank you again for taking the time, man. Appreciate it. And congrats on the deal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.